Hey everyone, it's the Diplomat, and we are on part 53 of the Chris Watts Discovery read-through. And I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience on this last video. And any newcomers, thank you also for being here. And we just hope you get the facts here and can make up your mind on things for yourself. So with that, in this part, we are going to go over several interesting things, a couple items on the CPR and first aid classes that Chris took. We're also going to hear from Shanann's friends and a bit about her general alcohol habits, which were very small. And then also a very interesting interview with one Olayinka, who Shanann met at a restaurant. It was a chance encounter at Hibachi restaurant, and he's a lawyer, and she's talking to him about divorce, and that was back in earlier 2018. So I think you'll find that very interesting as well. So with that, let's get right into it. The first page here is a CBI report from Tammy Lee. And it's just a cover page here. It's listed as August 14th, 2018. And the next page after that just continues the cover pages. It says this supplemental report contains the attached CBI crime scene report related to the autopsies performed on Shanann, Bella, and Celeste Watts on Friday, August 17th, 2018. This supplement does not contain a narrative. And then the following page is CBI Forensic Services Division, and it is a crime scene report. Date of the report is September 21st, 2018. And this is at the McKee Medical Center in Loveland, Colorado. It lists Shanann, Bella, and Celeste. And it says, notification. On Thursday, August 16th, 2018, the undersigned was called by CBI Crime Scene Unit Manager David Maloney. I was directed to assist in documenting the autopsies of 3 victims involved in a homicide investigation. The autopsy was scheduled for 10 a.m. on August 17th at the McKee Medical Center in Loveland, Colorado. Autopsy. I arrived at the medical center at 9:45 a.m. I met with CBI agent Tammy Lee, members of the District Attorney's Office, as well as Frederick Police Department Detective Dave Baumover. The autopsies were conducted by Dr. M. Burson, who was assisted by J. Weiner. The autopsy of Shanann Watts was conducted first. I photographed the victim before and after cleaning. Shanann's body was in an advanced state of decomposition. She was dressed in a t-shirt, bra, and panties. A large protrusion was evident near her vaginal area. The remains of a fetus were visible. The autopsy of Bella Watts was conducted next. I photographed the victim before and after cleaning. Bella's body was in an advanced state of decomposition. Bella was dressed in a onesie and underwear. The autopsy of Celeste was conducted next. I photographed the victim before and after cleaning. Celeste's body was dressed in a diaper, underwear, and t-shirt. Celeste's body was in an advanced state of decomposition. As each autopsy was conducted, the victim's clothing was placed on a clean sheet. I photographed the clothing. It was then packaged by Jay Weiner and transferred to the custody of Dave Baumover. All of the autopsies concluded about 7 p.m. Next page lists a photo log of the photos that I mentioned they took, and it's signed by Eric Bryant, crime scene analyst. So the next page is another CBI report from Tammy Lee, initiated on August 14th. And it says, this supplemental report documents follow-up conducted on Chris Watts' CPR training records. On Monday, September 10th, 2018, CBI agent Tammy Lee received an email from Craig, who indicated his law firm represents SRP Environmental, LLC. Craig advised he was willing to comply with the request for records, but they had some questions and concerns. On Tuesday, September 11th, 2018, I called and left Craig a message to call me after receiving his email. I spoke with Craig and he advised that they were willing to provide the documents and information. I advised Craig that Weld County District Attorney's Office Chief Deputy District Attorney Steve Wren would also like to speak with him. DDA Wren called Craig and spoke to him directly. On Wednesday, September 12th, I received an email from Craig who advised the following, and this is in quotes. Please find attached training documents, sign-in sheets, and curriculums in answer to the original request from Ms. Lee for training records on March 4th, 2015 and May 16th, 2017. SRP Environmental's standard procedure is to conduct 2 trainings per day. Mr. Watts attended the morning session on March 4th, 2015 and the afternoon session on May 16th, 2017. The table of contents for the 2 classes are also attached. The 2010 version, used for the 2015 classes, as well as the 2016 version, used for the 2017 classes. Please let me know when you would like to schedule a phone discussion with the trainers and we will try to facilitate that. Brianne is no longer with the company, but Ray is a current employee. The attachments received by Craig are attached to this supplemental report. Investigation continues. And then there's 6 attachments listed based on what he had provided them. Next says CBI report, same with Tammy Lee on the 14th. And this says follow up with friends of Shanann about Shanann's alcohol consumption. And this listed is Greg Zentner. And the witness is Cindy, Karen, and Christina, and Cassandra, which is Cassie. So this is Shanann's friends. On Wednesday, October 3rd, 2018, CBI field agent Greg Zentner contacted several of Shanann's friends to inquire about their knowledge of Shanann's alcohol consumption. I contacted Christina, Cindy, Cassie, and Karen via telephone. Christina stated she had stayed at Shanann's house for about 2 months in 2017 when Shanann was recovering from neck surgery. Christina said the only time she saw Shanann drink any alcohol during her stay with Shanann was on about August 20th, 2017, and that was when the 2 of them had dinner at Shanann's house. Christina said this was about a week before Shanann had her neck surgery, approximately August 28th, 2017. Christina said they bought a bottle of white wine and they each had 1 glass of wine from this bottle during dinner. Christina said she was with Shanann most of the time when she was in Colorado. Christina said she took over the care for the children during this time, and she did some of the cleaning around the house while Shanann was recovering. Christina said she did not recall ever seeing any alcohol in the house other than that half bottle of wine left over from their dinner on about August 20th, 2017. Christina also said she has been on a few business trips with Shanann for their Thrive business. Christina said alcohol consumption is not part of the Thrive healthy living lifestyle that Shanann was following. Christina said she did see Shanann have a few alcoholic drinks on these trips, but classified Shanann's alcohol consumption as very minimal and only social drinking. Christina said she has never seen Shanann drunk or even mildly intoxicated. Christina said she has known Shanann for more than 14 years. Christina said if Shanann was going to have an alcoholic drink, it would probably be wine. Cindy stated she was with Shanann in Arizona during the Thrive conference on August 10th through 12th, 2018. Cindy said she was in charge of the event in Arizona, so she did not have the opportunity to spend much time with Shanann. Cindy said she did have dinner with Shanann on Friday, August 10th, 2018. Cindy said she did not see Shanann drink any alcohol during this dinner. Cindy said Shanann seemed like she was not her normal self during the weekend. Cindy said Shanann appeared to be defeated. Cindy said Shanann appeared to be devastated that Shanann was possibly losing her marriage. Cindy said she also had dinner with Shanann on Sunday, August 12th, 2018, at the Thirsty Lion in Tempe, Arizona. Cindy said after dinner she drove Shanann to the airport for her flight back to Denver. Cindy provided a picture of them at dinner. See attached photograph. Cindy said she didn't see Shanann drink any alcohol during this dinner. Cindy said Shanann was, in quotes, not much of a drinker, and she always wanted to be an attentive mom, so she didn't want to be so impaired that she couldn't take care of her kids. Cindy added that because Shanann was pregnant, there was, in quotes, no way Shanann had anything to drink, and 100% would not put that child in danger by drinking, end quote. Cindy said Shanann might have one drink in a social setting, and if Shanann were to drink it, would have been a glass of wine. Cindy said she and all of their friends did raise a lemon drop drink to honor Shanann at Shanann's funeral, because that would have been a drink that Shanann would have liked. Cassie stated she was with Shanann in Arizona during the Thrive Conference on August 10th through 12th. Cassie said she stayed in the same hotel room with Shanann during the weekend. Cassie said Shanann seemed to be depressed. She explained and said Shanann had been talking to her almost every day while Shanann was in North Carolina, and Shanann had expressed concern about the way Chris was acting towards her. Cassie also said Shanann was not feeling well because of the pregnancy, and she was also extremely busy with her Thrive business. Cassie said Shanann was not eating very well either. Cassie said she never saw Shanann drinking any alcohol while she was with Shanann in Arizona. Cassie said there was, in quotes, no way Shanann would drink alcohol while she was pregnant, end quote. Cassie said Shanann was, in quotes, not much of a drinker anyway, end quote. Cassie said if Shanann did ever drink anything, it would be a glass of wine. Cassie said that Shanann told her that if she did drink alcohol, it would cause a flare-up of Shanann's lupus and fibromyalgia. Cassie said she has known Shanann for more than 2 years, and she has never seen Shanann drunk or even slightly intoxicated. Karen stated she was with Shanann in Arizona during the Thrive Conference on August 10th through 12th. Karen said Shanann said she wasn't feeling good in general. Karen said Shanann told her she was having issues with Chris, and she added that the pregnancy was making her feel bad. Karen said she had been speaking with Shanann on the phone when Shanann was in North Carolina. During this time, Shanann complained that she was feeling dehydrated, and Shanann was vomiting because of the dehydration. Karen said she never saw Shanann drink any alcohol while she was with Shanann in Arizona. Karen said she couldn't remember a time when she had seen Shanann drink any alcohol. Karen said she has known Shanann for over a year. Nothing further, Greg Zentner. So this is very clear on two things. One is Shanann not being a drinker and certainly not drinking when she was pregnant with Nico. It seems like she was a social drinker. And the other thing is just a reminder of how defeated, and that term was used specifically, that Shanann was. And when she got back home from this trip, she probably had little to no energy, was not feeling well, and was in a place where it would have been very easy for someone to physically take advantage of her. And that's exactly what Chris did. Photograph of left to right, Cindy, Addie, Nicole, Shanann at the Thirsty Lion restaurant in Tempe, Arizona. Photograph taken on Sunday, August 11th at approximately 6 p.m. local time. and that must have been an attachment somewhere because it is not showing in the discovery. The next is another CBI report from Tammy Lee, dated August 14th as well, and this is just the cover page. And then it reads, on Thursday, October 4th, CBI agent Tammy Lee interviewed Raymond with SRP Environmental LLC. Raymond was the CPR first aid instructor who taught Christopher Watts on May 16th at Anadarko Petroleum's Platteville, Colorado office. On Thursday, October 4th, 2018, I called and spoke with Raymond, who was listed as the primary instructor for a medic first aid, basic plus CPR, AED, and first aid for adults class roster. According to the class roster, the training took place on May 16, 2017 at the Anadarko office in Platteville, Colorado. Chris's name was signed on the roster listed with his telephone number. Raymond explained he has worked for SRP Environmental since the end of 2016 or beginning of 2017. Raymond stated he taught Medic First Basic Plus 2015 version to Anadarko employees on May 16th. Raymond explained he cannot recall anything specific about the class or the students because they teach so often for Anadarko. Raymond explained the schedule for trainings for Anadarko employees occurred 2 days a week, 2 times a day, every 3 to 4 months. Raymond estimated there are between 300 to 400 Anadarko employees who are trained by SRP Environmental, so all of the classes tend to blend together in his mind. Raymond stated as far as he was aware, Anadarko only requested SRP Environmental to teach CPR first aid for adults. I asked Raymond if there was any component of his trainings that focused on infant-child CPR or first aid. Raymond said his trainings only cover adults as he is not a certified instructor in pediatric infant-child CPR or first aid. Raymond explained occasionally students will ask about infant-child CPR during the class, and he has other students discuss infant-child CPR and first aid. Raymond said there are numerous employees of Anadarko who are also EMTs and will share with the class their knowledge as it pertains to infant-child CPR. Raymond explained his trainings are video-based and use adult mannequins for the practical examination of CPR. Raymond said he also adds in components specific to the oil field in Colorado. I asked Raymond what he meant, and he said he will usually discuss opioid abuse, which is a big problem in Colorado, as well as cover numerous hand injuries which are common to working on an oil well site. I observed Raymond checked emotional considerations on the roster as a supplemental topic. Raymond explained emotional considerations was when he would discuss how the outcome of first aid CPR is not always positive and it can be difficult for some people to handle. Raymond said he tells students there are things they can do so they do not internalize their emotions, for example, speaking with family, friends, or a professional. Raymond explained the former primary instructor for SRP Environmental was Brianne. Raymond said Brianne was certified to teach pediatric infant-child CPR in 2015. According to the documents received by SRP Environmental, Brianne taught Medic First Basic Plus CPR, AED, and First Aid for adults to Anadarko employees on March 4, 2015. According to the roster, the training occurred at the Anadarko office in Platteville, Colorado, and Chris Watts signed the sheet, no telephone number listed. Raymond stated he believed Brianne was still teaching using the 2010 version of Medic First when she instructed Watts in 2015. I asked Raymond if he had Brianne's phone number, and he checked and said he did not. Raymond said he believed Brianne worked for C3 Real Estate in Greeley, Colorado. I thanked Raymond for speaking with me and disconnected the call. Nothing further. The next is a CBI supplement, downloaded media information provided to DA's office on September 11th at 1:30. This is Jillian Ganley. On Tuesday, September 11, 2018, I provided Kathy Holscher, Weld County DA's office, a thumb drive containing all media files I had downloaded in reference to Christopher Watts or any related individuals up to that point. The files were all downloaded either from Facebook or YouTube using open source intelligence techniques. The screenshots of text messages were provided to CBI agents by Shanann's friends directly from their cell phones. No narrative is included in this supplement. End of report. The next is a CBI report, also August 14th. This is Tammy Lee again. And this says interview with Olayinka. Interview with Olayinka. Olayinka happened to meet Shanann Watts and an unidentified friend at a restaurant, Mount Fuji, located in Westminster, Colorado. In March or April 2018, Olayinka said he spoke with Watts about family law issues, divorce, in Colorado. Olayinka is a licensed attorney. On Friday, October 5th, CBI agent Greg Zentner interviewed Olayinka in connection to this case. Olayinka indicated he had a chance encounter with Shanann and her unidentified friend at a restaurant in March or April 2018. Olayinka said Watts asked him several questions about the divorce lawyers in Colorado. That's Shanann. On Friday, October 5th, I met with Olayinka in Glendale, Colorado for an interview. The following is a summary of the interview. For a complete account of the interview, please review the attached audio file. Olayinka told me the following. Olayinka said in March or April 2018, he and his wife happened to sit at a table at a hibachi-style restaurant in Westminster, Colorado with Shanann Watts and an unidentified female friend of Watts. Olayinka identified the restaurant as Mount Fuji, located in Westminster, Colorado. He said he thought he and his wife got to the restaurant at about 8:30 p.m. I showed Olayinka a photograph of Shanann and Chris, and he positively identified Shanann as the person sitting at his table. Olayinka said Shanann was wearing blue jeans and a faded orange blouse with the shoulders cut out. Olayinka described Shanann Watts' friend as a white female with very distinct eyes, wearing a black dress, and he learned later that this unidentified female was visiting from North Carolina. Olayinka said there were two other people seated at the table with them, a mother and son from Minnesota. Olayinka said he did not see Chris Watts at the restaurant, but he did recognize Chris Watts from reports on the television. Olayinka said during the course of conversations with Shanann and her friend, he told them he was an attorney. He said the fact that he was an attorney seemed to catch the attention of Shanann. Olayinka said he told Shanann and her friend that he practices nearly all areas of the law except family law because family law is very messy. Olayinka said Shanann began asking him several questions about how the divorce laws work in Colorado. Olayinka said Shanann told him she had been divorced once before, but that was in North Carolina. He said Shanann seemed to be interested in what could happen to children in divorce proceedings. Olayinka said he told Shanann about the Spalmer Doctrine in Colorado, which specifically addresses the out-of-state relocation of children in a divorce occurring in Colorado. Olayinka said he told Shanann that the presiding judge can't tell the custodial parent where to live, but the judge can decide on which parent gets custody of the children. Olayinka continued and told Shanann that the courts will make decisions which they think is in the best interest of the children. Olayinka said Shanann seemed concerned about this doctrine because she had 2 children from her current marriage, 2 girls. Olayinka said he asked Shanann if she was thinking about getting a divorce, and he said Shanann did not answer the question directly, but he did see her smile in response to the question. Olayinka said he also noticed the unidentified friend smile as well. Olayinka said after everyone at the table finished eating, they all stood up and Shanann approached him and asked a few more questions about divorce. Olyanka said he thought it was about 10 p.m. Olyanka said Shanann asked if it was possible for the courts in Colorado to give custody of the children in a divorce to the man in the case. Olyanka confirmed it was a possibility for the courts to grant the man custody of the children in a Colorado divorce case. Olyanka said Shanann asked if divorce with children is a messy process, and he told Shanann that unless there is infidelity in the marriage, he would recommend doing everything possible to save the marriage rather than file for divorce. Olyanka said he got the feeling that Shanann wanted to ask more in-depth questions about divorce, but he thought she was a little hesitant because her friend was there. Olyanka said he remembered Shanann talked about wanting to have another child, but expressed concern for her health because the last time she was pregnant she had issues with her lupus flaring up. Olyanka said Shanann may have mentioned that her husband wanted a baby boy. Olyanka said he did not remember seeing Shanann consume any alcohol during his time in contact with her. He said Shanann asked him for his contact information and he provided her with his cell phone number. Olyanka said a few weeks ago he was watching a television news program when he saw Shanann Watts' picture on the television as being the victim of a homicide. Olyanka said he immediately recognized Shanann as the woman he had been talking to at the restaurant about divorce in Colorado. Olyanka said he then reached out to the FPD to report he had some information about Shanann Watts. Nothing further, Greg Zentner. The next page is another CBI report, August 14th. It's Tammy Lee again, and this is the phone interview with Brianne. That was the one of the CPR instructors that we talked about just a few minutes ago. On Wednesday, October 10th, 2018, CBI agent Tammy Lee interviewed Brianne with SRP Environmental. Brianne was the CPR first aid instructor who taught Christopher Watts on March 4th, 2015 at Anadarko Petroleum's Platteville, Colorado office. On Thursday, October 4th, 2018, I called and left a message for Brianne to call me. Brianne was listed as the primary instructor for a renewal course on the Medic First Aid Basic Plus CPR, AED, and First Aid for Adults class roster. According to the class roster, the training took place on March 4th, 2015 at the Anadarko office in Platteville, Colorado. Chris Watts' name was signed on the roster. On Wednesday, October 10th, I called and spoke to Brianne on the phone. Brianne explained she started working for Soap Weed Solutions in 2010, and the company was bought out by SRP Environmental. Brianne said she was laid off by SRP around April of 2016. I asked Brianne if she recalled having Chris in one of her classes, and she said yes. Brianne said she saw a photograph of Chris on the news and mentioned to her husband that he looked like someone from Anadarko she had in class. Brianne said she is very good at remembering faces. Brianne said she cannot recall anything specific about the class Watts attended, including anything about Watts' behavior or demeanor. Brianne believed the company she worked for didn't obtain the contract to train Anadarko employees until around 2014 or 2015. Brianne said it felt like she spent most Wednesdays at Anadarko when it was time for first aid CPR renewal. Brianne said she only taught Anadarko employees first aid CPR for adults and was very strict about it in class. Brianne said sometimes Anadarko students would ask her about doing CPR on a child, and she would tell them they would only use one hand for compressions on a child, but that was it. Brianne said she told the Anadarko employees if they wanted to learn about infant-child CPR, they would have to come back and go through the 4-hour class as she did not have the proper equipment or time to teach them during class. Brianne explained she was a certified instructor for infant-child CPR. I asked Brianne if she ever had other Anadarko employees with prior EMS training talk about infant-child CPR during her classes, and she said it happened occasionally. Brianne said she would always be very strict and inform the class they were only to discuss adult CPR and first aid. Brienne said all of the certificates and cards given to the employees after the classes specifically said adult on them as well. I asked Brienne if she recalled what version of Medic First she used for Anadarko employees, and she said no. Brienne said she did use videos and adult Resusci-Ann dolls. Brienne also explained she would speak to Anadarko employees about oil site safety, which included caring for rattlesnake bites, inclement weather conditions, slippery paths, etc. I asked Brienne if any of her training for Anadarko employees included information which could also be found in the infant-child CPR training class. Brienne said she could really only recall checking for breathing, pulse, and calling 911 as being similar in both classes. I thanked Brienne for speaking with me and disconnected the call. Nothing further. So to wrap up a lot of the CPR first aid training information, it's clear that Chris did not have infant-child CPR as part of these classes, although it was spoken about. So in the situation, he could have at least given some sort of an attempt. So clearly he did not, and also he did not call 911 as she suggested is one of the main things, no matter what. So it's obvious that Chris had no intentions of trying to save anyone that day. So that's where we're going to end part 53, and so there was certainly some interesting reports and interviews in that part, solidifying the CPR first aid, and with regards to Chris not having infant-child CPR, they were certainly looking for that to be able to show that he didn't try to perform it even though he had training, but they did determine that he did not have that training, although he should have tried something if he was innocent, which we know he was clearly not. The one I found very interesting was the discussion with Olenka. That gave some insight into where Shanann may have been with regards to the relationship in earlier 2018. And I'm curious if Chris caught wind of that at any point, if she even brought up the possibility of divorce with him at any point. But that certainly can point to a motive on Chris's part if he thought she was going to divorce him and move back to North Carolina. That may have played into the incredibly disgusting decision that he made. You know, normal people still see this, see her moving away and divorcing you as a better outcome than murder. You know, regular people can deal with those types of situations without resorting to some sort of crime or violence. You know, you have to figure out what to do. You have to move to wherever your kids are going to be. You know, you have to man up, you have to take responsibility, and you have to do what you got to do, and you don't resort to criminal activity. But there's some of these bad eggs out there that seem to not be able to deal with the pressure. They buckle, and they do heinous things, and it really would be a better world without these people in them, like Chris. Also, it was very nice to hear from the friends of Shanann who were with her, discussing, you know, what the state she was in when she was on the trip, but also solidifying that she was a very responsible drinker. She was a social drinker. She put her kids first, and she took responsibility, unlike Chris. She, you know, drank a little bit, but nothing, you know, what we would all consider to be extremely little and very responsible. God, we ask you today that Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico are resting in peace. They're in a better place, and we know that this world is temporary, though we still hate these types of acts and these crimes that take lives from, beautiful lives from our world, way earlier than should ever happen. Pray for the Rusek family. Pray for all those that have been involved, that they're recovering, that they're finding peace, that they're strong, finding you and strengthen you. We pray these things in loving memory of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico. Have a great day.